Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Taylor Schaub in this morning for Alex Fisher. And we have more on the fire in just a moment. But first, Kevin's actually watching the weather and what fire crews are dealing with.
Yes, he is. And we're going to send things over to Kevin Charette right now for that and a look at our morning forecast as well.
Yeah, we've dubbed this the lake fire, and it exploded yesterday afternoon over 10,000 acres. And I wanted to show you the plume, just how big this got so quickly yesterday afternoon. And you can see it here. And the sign is Lake Hughes Road, and you can see it in the distance. Right now, our current weather near the fire line, 78 degrees. We've got a dew point of 37, 23% on the humidity, and the winds out of the south-southwest at 13 miles per hour. I'm not sure if my mic cut out or, keep going. As we take a look at the winds, and you can see here throughout the day, we will see those winds pick up to about 25 miles per hour. So it could be very interesting for firefighters. In terms of our weather today, 20% chance of an afternoon thunderstorm is possible. We've got a temperature of 92, so it's going to be hot for firefighters. Humidity values between 20 and 25%. And then we've got a west-southwest wind 10 to 15, again gusting near 25. So it's definitely going to be a day we'll have to watch.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And that ferocious fire is still threatening homes near Lake Hughes this morning. First, let's show you where this fire is burning. Lake Hughes is about 74 miles south of Bakersfield, east of Interstate 5, near Gorman. The lake fire started around 3:30 yesterday afternoon and has not let up since then. To give some perspective on just how rapidly this fire is spreading, at 5 p.m. yesterday, it was 400 acres. Less than 30 minutes later, it exploded in size to more than 6,000 acres. Around 11 o'clock last night, the fire was at 10,000 acres and threatening at least 100 homes. To give you some perspective at how big that is, the entire city of Tehachapi clocks in at under 7,000 acres. Containment remains at 0% this morning. Mandatory evacuations are in place for communities of Lake Hughes and Pine Canyon. Fire officials say 9 water-dropping helicopters and 6 air tankers, along with 500 firefighters, are doing their best to stop the spread.
It's pretty explosive fire behavior, and again, it's typical of what we see maybe a little bit later in the season, as Chief Richardson mentioned, and often driven by wind. But clearly, you can see with the fuel moisture conditions and the fire at this particular location with the slopes and the topography, it really created a recipe for some rapid fire growth.
An evacuation center is set up at Highland High School in Palmdale for evacuees, and large animals can be brought to the fairgrounds in Antelope Valley and Castaic. Kern County Fire Department has sent a strike team to help fight the lake fire, posting this picture this morning last night, I should say, on Twitter. The strike team consists of 15 firefighters and 2 battalion chiefs. 5 engines are also deployed to help fight this blaze.
Well, another fire which broke out near Maricopa Wednesday is now fully contained. Take a look at these amazing pictures taken by Doug Keeler with the Taft Midway Driller. The Soda fire, which started near Highway 133 and Soda Lake Road, Kern County Fire says it burned over 400 acres before they were able to fully contain the blaze.
And now to the latest on the Stagecoach Fire, burning since last Monday near Lake Isabella. As of last night, the fire is 98% contained, so some good news from that firefight. It's burned nearly 8,000 acres and destroyed 23 homes and 7 buildings. Yesterday, Kern County Fire announced all evacuations have been lifted and roads in the area have been reopened.
Well, the Trump administration remains adamant about reopening U.S. classrooms. It released 8 general guidelines for reopening schools, similar to earlier hygiene tips. That comes on the heels of some students and staff entering isolation after testing positive for the virus. John Lawrence reports.
President Trump announcing the federal government is providing up to 125 million masks to schools nationwide.
My administration also stands ready to deploy CDC teams to support schools that are opening and schools that need help in safety.
The White House is encouraging students and staff to use masks, but there's no mandate.
The president's priority is to open the schools and open them safely and have parents have the options to either use open schools or do whatever they can to eventually get back to open schools.
But some health experts are skeptical about the White House's new coronavirus advisor, Dr. Scott Atlas.
A neuroradiologist, someone with no public health experience, who has advocated for herd immunity, now advising the President of the United States. Herd immunity means 1 million dead Americans. That's what it would take to get to herd immunity. That's not a plan. That's a catastrophe.
The push to get students back in class comes as the U.S. is averaging nearly 53,000 new cases per day, according to Johns Hopkins University. That's an 11% drop from the week before.
We got to go to school. We got to open up. We got to open up our schools and open up our businesses. And a lot of it has been open, but we can do better.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, that's the subject of our 17 interactive feedback poll. We want to know, would you feel comfortable with your child returning to a physical classroom? Call or text us at 661-888-4617. Press 1 if yes and 2 for no. You can also text, tweet, email us, or Facebook us your comments. Once again, our interactive phone line is 888-4617. We'll air some of your comments and have results from the poll coming up later on Sunrise.
Hospitalizations are up again yesterday. New numbers were added to that total. 184 new cases were reported Wednesday. More than 25,000 people in Kern County have tested positive for coronavirus since March. No new deaths were reported yesterday. More than 17,000 people are self-isolating in their homes. 261 people are receiving treatment in the hospital. That's 11 more people than reported at the last update. And a warning this morning from the CDC. The director for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is urging Americans to follow public health measures. Dr. Robert Redfield says if people don't wear a mask, social distance, wash their hands, and be smart about crowds, this could be the worst fall in U.S. public health history. Redfield also wants Americans to get the flu vaccine this year. He says the CDC is prepared with 10 million doses for uninsured adults. Usually there's only about 500,000 as for the coronavirus vaccine. Redfield says he's cautiously optimistic there will be one by the start of 2021. Several vaccine candidates are now in phase 3 trials.
79 degrees out there to start off your Thursday morning here. We've got a calm wind right now for Bakersfield. And as we take a look at the almanac, we should be right around 96 this time of year. Overnight, we should be at 69. And look we're 10 degrees above that already for today. Here's a look at the numbers. 73 in Delano, 75 in Buttonwillow Taft at 78. Into the mountains right now, 63 in Fraser Park, along with Tehachapi and Lake Isabella at 75. And one thing to note here, and we talked about it yesterday, some of that subtropical moisture, and we're already seeing some thunderstorms offshore right now, and that is the moisture we're going to watch for this afternoon drifting north, bringing us a chance of thunderstorms as well. Here's a look at temperatures today. 102 in Sacramento, 102 in Fresno. We're looking at 70s and 80s south. So along with this moisture, it's still going to be a hot day for everybody. Want to show you the Pacific, and again, Alita is falling apart, but the moisture from Alita is now drifting north, and so that's what we're going to be looking for this afternoon. And then on top of that, heading into our weekend, we get a ridge of high pressure that builds west, and that's really going to warm us up. And unfortunately, that trough that's kind of in place is not going to cool us down much today. I think we'll still hit the triple digits. Futurecast HD, this is our high resolution model, and you can see it does bring in some of that moisture from the south as we go throughout the afternoon and into the evening. So buckle up, because we may see some of those thunderstorms develop. And I'm putting a 20% chance in there for our area right now, maybe a little bit higher risk up to the north between Mammoth Lakes and Lone Pine. But again, that is kind of what we're looking at in terms of thunderstorms. Now let's talk about the other component of this, and that's the heat. We have now issued an excessive heat warning until 9 p.m. on Monday because of the temperatures we're going to be seeing starting tomorrow into your weekend, some of the hottest temperatures of the season. So day number 5 is today of heat wave number 6, and this is going to continue. Again, we talked about the chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, the excessive heat warning, and I can't remind you enough, stay out of the Kern River this weekend. I know it's going to be tempting, but it's also very dangerous. Let's take a look at the numbers for today. And Bakersfield should be right near 100, 101 in McFarland, 98 in Taft. We'll see increasing clouds and that chance of a thunderstorm. That'll be the same for the mountain locations today. 84 in Fraser Park, 87 in Tehachapi, and then for the Kern River Valley, 90s. Lake Isabel at 93. Out in the desert, increasing clouds, a chance of a thunderstorm here as well. Mojave at 96, 99 out of Ridgecrest. So below 100 there. So that's good news for today. Here's your extended forecast tomorrow. Look at that, 106, 108 on Saturday. And that 108 is the hottest temperature we've seen so far this season earlier on. And you can see that heat just continues all the way into next Wednesday. And then for the mountains, so we're looking at temperatures to also increase into the mid-90s starting tomorrow all the way through next week. A little bit breezy Monday through Wednesday as well. And a mix of sun and clouds. And then for the Kern River Valley, 102 tomorrow, 105 on Saturday, and it's pretty close to that 103, 104 all the way through next Wednesday, and a mix of sun and clouds. So not only are we going to see possibly the thunderstorms today, but as we head into tomorrow, we crank up that heat.
Welcome back. Heading back to school can be stressful for students during a normal year, much less during a pandemic, when many children will be learning remotely. But there are ways for families to lessen the stress for their young ones. Sarah Dolph has the story.
From the classroom to the kitchen counter, the Barkers are one of many families opting to go virtual this school year.
Now it's more of like, how can I actually educate my child? How can I actually socialize my child? Where in the spring it was kind of like sink or swim.
But they also feel more prepared with designated workspaces for each child and a learning pod for their kindergartner, thanks to conversations with their pediatrician, Dr. Catherine Olmstead.
It's really important that we make school a priority.
She advises parents to set a schedule, waking up and starting school at the same time every day, in a quiet, clutter-free space, away from TVs and video games.
You can start the day by unpacking that backpack, getting out your school supplies, and putting them back in at the end of the day to transition from school back to home life.
Dr. Olmstead suggests starting the day with 15 minutes of exercise and building in digital breaks for physical activity throughout.
We know that short bursts of exercise improve problem-solving skills, they improve memory, they improve focus, and they also help us manage stress and manage anxiety and depression.
Parents working from home should consider office hours for school-related questions, teach kids to move on to easier assignments if they're not available to help, and offer praise and positive reinforcement.
I try to reiterate to them that I'm very proud of them for how they are sacrificing for maybe the older generations. And I think this will be a memorable time in history.
Focusing on the bigger picture as millions report for virtual learning. Sarah Dolph, NBC News.
In education news here at home, the Bakersfield City School District is pushing back the start date for students. The first day was set for Monday, August 17th, but the district says a majority of its 30,000 students won't have access to internet connectivity after a delay in the delivery of hotspots from its service provider. The district held an emergency meeting yesterday where trustees decided to postpone the start date 1 week to August 24th. More than 60% of parents say that with school-aged kids say remote learning will negatively impact their finances. Results from that survey by Bankrate.com are all new this morning. Overall, 30% of parents say they'll have additional miscellaneous expenses like technology, tutoring, and meals. Nearly a quarter believe their career opportunities will be limited. 22% say they'll have to cut back their work hours, while 15% say they'll have to stop working entirely.
Well, have you noticed your energy bill going up as you work from home and your kid's classroom becomes the dining room? Turns out you're not alone. PG&E is offering up some tips to save energy and as a result bring that monthly bill down. First, make sure to unplug electronic devices when you're not using them. Turn down the brightness on televisions and keep fridges and freezers closed as much as you can. If you have the air conditioning running, you can save by turning the temperature up and using fans. This will keep the house cool and will also cut down on AC costs. PG&E also offers a few different energy-saving programs on its website. You can find more information about those programs on pge.com.
KGET and Dignity Health are working with the Bakersfield Homeless Center to get kids the supplies they need for the upcoming school year with our annual backpack drive. KGET is not accepting donations at our station. Instead, we're asking you to drop off supplies directly to the Homeless Center this year. Even though lessons are online, kids still need traditional supplies. That includes backpacks, notebooks, pencils, markers, clothing, and more. You can drop off donations or donate money online. For more information, visit our website, kget.com. And a local church is also getting into the giving spirit this back-to-school season. This weekend, Victory Outreach is in Southwest Bakersfield holding a drive-through backpack giveaway. It's Saturday at 10 a.m. at the church on New Horizon Boulevard.